Welcome back, True Seeker. It is August 24th, 2022, the day in Los Angeles known as Kobe Bryant Day. And going into this Kobe Bryant Day, just last night, the Dodgers picked up their 44th home win on what would have been Kobe's 44th birthday. And of course, we talked about this yesterday morning, well before the game was played. Said again, I don't want to make you a gambler, but there's some gambles that are no brainers. And in the rigged world of sports, the Dodgers getting the 44th home win in the scripted MLB that is, again, on what would have been Kobe's 44th birthday, it had to happen. And I pointed out the significance of them getting their 85th overall win, too, while the Pope's 85, because, again, Kobe died at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age while traveling from Catholic Mass. And we also talked about the significance of staying on 37 losses in light of Kobe Bryant dying on the 37-year anniversary of Bear Bryant, the great football coach in the city of Los Angeles, which we often call the 37 City. And yesterday, when we were looking at ESPN's preview of the game, they didn't have up who the starting pitchers were, which is something they normally have up there. And maybe they were hiding that because they know a lot of people in the world are actively using this knowledge to expose what's going on a lot more than there was 9 years ago when I first started. It's a brand new thing. We started putting it out there, but now a lot of people have learned. So I told people, though, I said, you might want to look into that game and dig even deeper because I bet there's more clues. Well, lo and behold, do you know who was pitching for the Dodgers yesterday? Tony Gonsolin, who wears the number 26, like how Kobe died on the 26th day of the year. And do you know what career win Gonsolin got yesterday? He got his 26th career win on Kobe Bryant's, what would have been his 44th birthday, as they pick up the 44th home win. And we're going to talk about him becoming 26-6 for his career, a very special number that's directly related to 85. And the Pope being 85 right now, because Pope Francis is the 266th Pope in the history of the church. And Kobe was also drafted into the NBA on 26/6. So, again, we've been teaching about this for 9 years, how sports are connected to world affairs, synced up with the Catholic Church. I started this work in 2013. It took me 3 years to develop and say publicly that I thought sports was being scripted in accordance with the Catholic Church and the Jesuits. And I first figured that out through college basketball, and then I realized the same thing was true in everything else. It was easy to see in college basketball because, well, we'll talk about 85 and why the first ever March Madness tournament was the Catholic school Villanova over the Jesuit school Georgetown. But again, you guys, what I'm about to show you, understand, this is nothing new. This is what goes on really every day in rig sports, but just some rituals are a lot easier to understand than others because, you're familiar with Kobe Bryant. You might not be familiar with the ritual, say, the Oakland Raiders do on the anniversary of one of their linemen's death, where they hit the record that matches his name, Gematria, because you don't know the name of that lineman like you know Kobe Bryant. But understand, this stuff is going on every single day. And we've been showing it and proving it and predicting what happens well before it happens for 9 straight years now. Now, notice the Dodgers won 10-1, like 101, the 26th prime number, with number 26, Gonsolin, getting his 26th career win on Bryant's birthday, who died on the 26th day of 2020. But notice, not only that, but this is what you see all the time. Gonsolin was born on May 14th, which is Israel's birthday. And from his birthday to this ritual on August 23rd was his 101st day of his age. Okay? And then his team wins 10-1. And 101's the 26th prime. And again, Philadelphia equals 101. Kobe's from the land of Philadelphia. Has all the parallels with Jordan, who played his last game in Philadelphia. The Warriors just won the finals, who are originally from Philadelphia. All these leagues scripted together. Remember when it was Eagles over the Patriots? We saw it in week 3. Kobe Bryant was part of that ritual as well. Anyway, the name Bryant in Gematria equals 26 forwards, 37 in reverse, right? 26 forward, 37 in reverse. He died on the 37-year anniversary of Bear Bryant on the 26th day of the year in Los Angeles, which equals 37. Los Angeles is 37 forwards and 53 in reverse, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But again, just to make sure we got it all, because we're bouncing around a few numbers, The Dodgers get their 85th win of the season while the Pope's 85. This whole thing's been synced up with Kobe since day one. By the way, my book, Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus, you have the long chapter on Kobe's death, talking about how his death is synced with the Pope and a lot of other things. Essentially about how we're speaking a language, English, that's credited to a Catholic monk from about the year 1000 AD, and we're on a calendar that's credited to a Catholic Pope, Pope Gregory the 13th. And remember, that Pope debuted in history February 24th. We'll talk about where that fits in with Kobe's memorial being on February 24th and with Russia-Ukraine this year popping off on February 24th. Again, the same Jesuits, same Catholic Church behind all this stuff. But again, we talked about the 85 wins. Basketball's 85. Well, here, we got to know this about the 85 too. Let me scroll down a little bit further. The Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, is 85. Again, the first March Madness in 85. Basketball, 85. Kobe Bryant, a basketball star. But the first March Madness, the Catholic school over the Jesuit school. Pope Francis is 85 years old right now. The Jesuit motto, 85. In reverse, 266. Pope Francis, the 266th Pope, the first Jesuit Pope. Their logo is the sun with IHS for Isus Hominum Salvator. So think about how perfect this is as Gonsolin becomes 26-6 for his 4-year career. For his total career, 26-6. As they pick up the 85th win on Kobe, the basketball star's birthday, who was drafted into the NBA the 26th day of June, 26-6. And with regards to him becoming 16-1 for the year, the golden ratio phi, which is like Philadelphia, is 1.61. But let me scroll down here. I know it's here somewhere. Where did it go? Just wait until we get to, it's 81 days from the leader of the Jesuits' birthday as this happens. Again, Kobe had the career high. Oh, it's right here. It's right in front of me. Los Angeles, again, 37 forwards, 161 in reverse. Gonsolin becomes 16-1 for the year as Los Angeles stays on 37 losses, picking up the 85th win. See how it all matches up in the same ciphers? The most pure cipher as we describe it, the alphabetic order of the rules of numerology. 85 wins, 37 losses. Isus Hominum Salvator, 85, Los Angeles, 37. The Jesuits, big in California. You got your Jesuit governor, Gavin Newsom, who, by the way, his name equals 56, like Society of Jesus, like coronavirus, like COVID vaccine, like Corona Del Mar, where Kobe was buried, like Anthony Fauci, like the pandemic declared 56 years after Trump's Jesuit education began, like Gavin Newsom saying 56% of California will get coronavirus in 8 weeks, which is 56 days. But anyway, in the same cipher, running the alphabetic order in reverse, Gonsolin becomes 26-6 for his career, 16-1 on the season. Again, this is why you got to learn the base ciphers, alphabetic order, forwards and backwards with numerology. Lessons we've given a million times. And again, a million examples like this too over the years of just how scripted it is. And, you know, again, because it's Kobe, people will care more. The other thing that's weird about sports is like this guy's name's Tony Gonsolin. And just to show you this, you see how his birthday is 14/5? And that's Israel's birthday. Tony Gonsolin. 145 in the same cipher. Catholic, 145. 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament than the Protestant. The Jesuits are a Catholic-Jewish alliance. The World Wars are Catholic-Jesuit. That's why they turned a blind eye to the Nazis. And then Israel established in the big Jesuit ritual on 14/5, paying tribute to the Catholic version of the Old Testament. And again, who declared it a nation? David Ben-Gurion. For forwards, his name is 145. Okay. By the way, you know, with regards to the whole Israel and Zionism thing, there's actually more here to this. This happened on a date with 73 numerology. The founder, if you didn't know this, actually, let's think about this bigger. Let's think about this bigger, because this is on Kobe's 44th birthday. Here, let me make a point about Israel. We're going to bring it all together. It's all, actually, you know what? Light bulbs are going off in my head that weren't there before. We can just keep it all together. Hold on. The founder of Zionism, Theodore Herzl, he died on July 3rd, 7-3, at age 44, 44 years before Zionist Israel was established. And for the record, Zion is 44, Israel's 44. You know, when Kobe was in the league, it was Netanyahu. How's he spell his name? Yeah, like that, Netanyahu. He gave the 44-second pause of silence directed at number 44 at Obama once upon a time, if you remember that story. Anyway, the point is, this 44 ritual with Kobe took place on a date with 73 numerology, and the way his full name is Anthony D. Gonsolin. Let me just show you this. Anthony D. Gonsolin. You see the 73? Look at Los Angeles Dodgers. Los Angeles Dodgers, 73, right? Remember, we just talked about the ritual of Vin Scully. This is the year of the 118th World Series. He was dead on the 118th day of the season. Los Angeles is the city on the 118th meridian west. Los Angeles, California equals 118, like Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Kobe's 2 cities. Will Smith's 2 cities. Wisconsin equals 118. The ritual yesterday against the team from Wisconsin, the Brewers. But when Vin Scully died on the 118th day of the season, see how Los Angeles Dodgers is 89? Whoops. Look at Los Angeles, California when I write it out. It's 118, like I just said. It's also 89. And Los Angeles' official city establishment date is September 4th, the day leaving 118 days left in the year. It's also Beyonce's birthday. But anyway, 89, 118. Vin Scully, 118th day of the season, 89 days from the upcoming World Series. Los Angeles, California. Again, the point is numbers forwards and backwards, right? Got to know it forwards and backwards. These simple ciphers. It's elementary. Kobe dead on the 26th, on the 37-year anniversary of Bear Bryant. And by the way, Bear Bryant died in 83 as one of the greatest football coaches. Football is 83 in the most simple cipher. Murder is 83 when you run it in a verse, like the song Murder by Numbers. Killing the sport of the elite, as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3, that song from 1983. The Georgia thing, they just acquitted the police officers who killed Rashard Brooks, a span of 803 days from the killing, 803. In numerology, 0 is a null value, so 83 are the digits that are there. You know, R.I.P. to Ray Liotta, dead 83 days before De Niro's 79th birthday, Goodfellas. And then again, he died at 67 in the Field of Dreams game. The Reds picked up their 67th loss, like Ray Liotta played Shoeless Joe Jackson of the Reds. And remember, the Reds and the Cubs, who were the Field of Dreams game, get Ray Liotta in Field of Dreams. The day he died, they played each other in the Reds. They beat the Cubs 20-5, and Shoeless Joe Jackson 205. So, okay, but we got it right. We got the score, the record, the 44th. We got all this right, and then 10-1. 10-1, like 101. Like Tony Gonsolin's 101st day of his age, the 26th prime. Again, Tony Gonsolin born May 14th, the game August 23rd. 101st day of his age, 26th prime number, gets his 26th career win. Kobe Bryant's birthday, the man dead on the 26th while wearing number 26, and you don't think pro sports are scripted? Oh, man. I did title this video, Do You Think Satan's Running the MLB? Again, I think really evil people who essentially serve the entity that we would refer to as Satan within Christianity. But again, there's other spiritualities and other concept for evil and serving evil. And again, people leave comments all the time. Zach, the one thing you're getting wrong is it's not man doing any of this. It's just Satan. It's like, I mean, anything's possible, but a lot of this looks like it's highly manipulated by man, and sports is a thing that can easily be manipulated by man. It's easy to get a guy to not show up and do his job and throw away the game, as has happened so many times in the world of sports. On the most unbelievable of plays, just ask the Boston Red Sox. How did the little dribbler get past him that would have ended, So, anyway, there's a reason this goes on day after day, and a lot of this stuff really is very capable of being manipulated by man. So anyhow, you guys can have that debate, but the thing that's not up for debate is that sports are rigged and scripted, because this stuff is playing out perfectly day after day in the most mocking of ways. And with regards to Satan, I'm going to talk about where the Church of Satan fits in with all of this. I've shared some recent information, but I noticed something that I was overlooking this whole time. It's going to blow your mind, and it's going to make a lot more sense out of all of this in light of Kobe, who had his career high in his 666th game. But again, here's Bear Bryant, dead January 26th, 83. By the way, just to mention, before we get to this thing about the Church of Satan, just some of the other games in baseball yesterday. Yesterday was the 23rd of the month, which is the 9th prime number. And baseball's a game of nines, 9 innings. And St. Louis, who was the hottest team in baseball, was going for their 9th straight win against the Cubs yesterday, right? They got beat in the 9th game, ending the streak at 8 on Kobe Bryant's birthday in the 8th month, right? Kobe number 8, who finished his career with 24. And by the way, added together, it equals 32, like how the Jesuit logo has 32 sun rays on it, like how they share their motto in Merum Dei Gloriam with the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite, and Scottish and America equal 32. And when the Dodgers won the World Series the year Kobe died, just like how the Lakers won that year, they beat the Rays, like the 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. But anyway, Kobe has the connection to Bear Bryant. Cubs are Bears. The Cubs and the Cardinals winning streak at 8. Again, Kobe, who started his career with 8. He's the sun god. The sun does the figure 8 in the sky each year, the Analema. Notice the Cubs also got their 53rd win in that game. Los Angeles has that Gematria 53, like how they lost in Super Bowl 53 to the Patriots, also equaling 53, which is the 16th prime, and the score was 13-3. But this was a doubleheader, and notice the Cubs got the 53rd win in the first game and then picked up the 37th home loss, splitting the doubleheader. Again, Los Angeles, 37 forwards, 53 in reverse. Patterns, rituals. The second game of the doubleheaders, Cardinals. Remember St. Louis, who was part of this. They recently had the Rams, who just went to LA, who won Super Bowl 56. So St. Louis, LA, this shared relationship. And then the Phillies, Kobe's from Philly. They won 7-6 on Kobe's birthday. The Philadelphia 76ers, right? Basketball. Notice they got their 68th win. Notice how just using the cipher where you run the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology. Notice how basketball is 68. Catholicism is 68. Remember the first March Madness in 68. The Catholic school over the Jesuit school. Now there's 68 teams in the tournament. Basketball and Catholicism both 68. Solar system is 68. All these rituals are synced up with the sun, right? The Catholic Church, the sun cult that worships on Sunday since Christmas Day 274 AD, when Jesus Omnum Salvator in the most simple cipher is 274. But again, that's the pagan day for the birthday of the solar man. But the word mathematics is also 68 too. And again, all of these things, mathematics, observation, calculation, they're all within the possibility of humanity. And now we have computers that do it for us. So again, I just want to remind people who always leave the comments that only Satan could do what we're exposing. I see it as this escapist. I just see all that as I mean, anything's possible, but ultimately, if that's the only comment you can leave to my work, you're not realizing the point of why I do this. The point is, we are people who can stop supporting this stuff. We could stop going to the stadiums. We could stop paying all the money for the bogus education. They're part of these universities that participate in rituals just like this with their college sport teams. We could shut this whole system down, which is what needs to happen. And then again, then we'd find out if the religious people are right. Because again, all these Christians who leave this comment that what I'm exposing is just Satan and not man, like man could never do this. Again, essentially what they're saying is, Zach, that's why you just need to get your Bible and pray and go to church on Sunday and wait till we all get lifted up out of our clothes. And you know, what's the thing they think is going to happen? Oh my God, that thing that's a false interpretation of the Bible, the rapture. Yeah. Anyway, back to the presentation. All within the possibility of man, the Phillies, Kobe's home city, have to win 7-6 this way in dramatic a fashion. And I'm just going to skip the point about the Twins again. The Lakers are originally from Minneapolis. Remember, George Floyd was right after Kobe. And again, the woman they had out there day one in the big Lakers puff jacket with the Justice for George Floyd sign. I pointed out right away. I said, well, you know, come on. There are Laker fans all over the world, but man, I mean, it's Minnesota, the Lakers, news and sports. And sure enough, we were all over the Lakers that year to win it. That was in LeBron's 17th season. Remember, Kobe died at 41, and then LeBron won the Lakers their 17th championship in his 17th season, exactly 41 weeks after his birthday when Kobe died at 41, and LA equals 41. And then they won it on Father-Daughter Day, and Kobe died at 41, his daughter at 13, and 41 is the 13th prime number. But anyway, it is interesting that Minnesota did stay on 62 wins on Kobe's birthday because Minneapolis is 62, and so was the name Floyd. And yeah, that was a big number in the George Floyd ritual. And again, this tribute to Kobe is coming after his death in 2020, the year of all that stuff. But out of all the games yesterday, the thing that stands out the most is right here. Look at how the Blue Jays got the 66th win. The Blue Jays got their 66th win. Kobe had his career high in his 666th game in Toronto. And remember, in the most pure cipher, well, we were talking about this with Len Dawson this morning. Number of the beast equals 66 forwards, 87 in reverse. Len Dawson is dead at 87 on his 66th day of his age on Kobe Bryant Day, who died right before Super Bowl 54 that the Chiefs won. And again, Kobe's full name, Kobe Bean Bryant, is 54 and 81, just like the phrase mark of the beast. Mark of the beast is 54 and 81. Number of the beast, whoops, wrong button. Number of the beast is 66 and 87. Again, Kobe Bryant Day, who had his career high in his 666th game against Toronto. Now Toronto gets their 66th win on this day over Boston. That's the 85 city. Both Boston and Red Sox are 85. Basketball's 85. First team to 17 championships, of course. But the score of 9-3 is interesting as well because that's the number associated with Saturn, which sounds a lot like Satan, which goes with the number of the beast. Of course, LeBron is Mr. 66. Again, in the base ciphers, notice LeBron is 66, LeBron James 66. First player to go to 6 straight finals since 66 when Bill Russell did it. And notice where LeBron James is 42, like Bill Russell's 42. And the beast rules for 42 months in Revelation. And for the record, you guys, Toronto equals 36 forwards and backwards, where 666 is the 36th triangular number. So Kobe in his 666th game again scored 81 points. When you run it in reverse, mark of the beast is 81. And then again, I'm showing you how the Jesuits are the ones scripting all this. And this ritual yesterday, this massive ritual, was 81 days before Arturo Sosa's 73rd birthday. The leader, or not before his he is 73 years old right now. It was 81 days before his 74th birthday, but it took place on a 73 date numerology. Again, Israel is a Jesuit creation, which is the Zionist nation. And again, Theodore Herzl, the founder of Zionism, he died on July 3rd, 7-3. And again, just older post. Theodore Herzl in the most pure cipher, 73. So you see what I mean just with the 44, 73 thing? When you think NBA, like most people, if I said, who runs the NBA? They'd say, well, I guess Jewish people because the last 2 commissioners have been Jewish. Remember, the Jesuits are a Catholic-Jewish alliance. And State of Israel in Gematria, its official name, is 201. By the way, Jerry Seinfeld, which is also 201, his last episode of his show aired on the 50th Jubilee, the 50th birthday of Israel. And recently there's been some deaths of some former actresses from Seinfeld and 201 rituals. And it was right around the same time Larry David, who wrote the show, who does Curb Your Enthusiasm on HBO, it was right around the time he had an episode where they held up the phone to the screen and it was 201. And it was like a couple days later, another actress died, and it was 201 days from the anniversary of Seinfeld start. And I was just like, God, this stuff is sick. But the Jesuit order, again, is 201. Jewish mysticism, where all this comes from, Kabbalah is 201. Also got that 93, which is a super special number to Aleister Crowley, the occultist who gave some clues on this whole gematria thing. But remember, the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, his name is 201. From the time of the first Jesuit pope, who all this stuff is synced up with Kobe. Again, Jorge Mario Bergoglio is his name, Pope Francis, which is 201. He's the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican, which is the Domus Sanctae Martyr, which is 201. And you know, there's a movie about him called The Two Popes, and the actor who plays the part of him is Jonathan Pryce, whose name is also 201. And the phrase Catholic Pope is 201. Remember, Kobe's death has the CIA numbers all over it as well, and the CIA was established on the 201st day of the Pope's age. And Kobe died while traveling from Catholic Mass, which is 201. And his studio company, his production company, is Granity Studios, which is 201 and 177, like the Jesuit order. 66 and 87, like number of the beast. And remember what happened this year to the granite monument in Georgia 201 days after the Pope's birthday. The Georgia Guidestones came down on 7/6 on Bush's 76th birthday in the massive ritual that was on the anniversary of The Devil Went Down to Georgia singer dying, and on the anniversary of Thomas More's death, who wrote Utopia, and the show Utopia said, limit the Earth's population to 500 million like the Georgia Guidestones. And then Kobe gets buried in Corona del Mar in a pharmaceutical lawsuit, who was known as the Black Mamba, the snake, the serpent, but also the medical symbol all over the world, the World Health Organizations. But by the way, the World Health Organization, you guys, with the snake for their symbol, like Kobe's the snake, the Black Mamba, they declared the pandemic March 11th, 201 days after Kobe's last birthday, the same day the movie Angel Has Fallen came out. And again, Event 201 was the name of the coronavirus pandemic simulation put on by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab. You see how Granity Studios has the 177? So does the Jesuit Order. So does Klaus Schwab. And the biggest, most famous death, I think, in the UK all this time for COVID was Captain Tom, who was knighted on 17/7 and died 201 days later, the day after Burma's government fell to its military and he was part of the Burma campaign, like George Orwell was. There's so much more to say about all this stuff. But again, for all the people who think, man couldn't be doing this, again, really, it is a complex system that was thousands of years in the making. But again, once a machine and a system is established, it can take a long time to get there. But once it's built and understood and it's a system that's in place, if you come in and learn the system, you can do a lot with it. And shout out to Mr. Futures, by the way, you guys. I meant to say shout out to Mr. Futures at the beginning of the stream. He did a really great video on Kobe Bryant, and he covered a lot of the information I had in here. I just wanted to add on the Jesuit pieces. But he took what I said yesterday, and he looked deeper. And he saw how connected it was with Gonsolin, as well as the 44-85-37 thing on the surface. And, you go even deeper. Again, like I'm always saying, this stuff synced up with the Superior General and the Pope again and again. This ritual, look at this, you guys. Remember how, okay. I haven't even gotten to, if you guys want to do a 1-minute presentation of this to somebody, I haven't even got to the part that you got to do. But look at this. Look at this. We're going to do it like this, you guys. I just wrote it down. I didn't even do the screenshot. So we're going to do it this way. August 23rd, 2022. Kobe's, what would have been his 44th birthday. I think he probably celebrated it. That's a guess. I don't know. It doesn't really matter one way or the next. But again, I never really saw any evidence that Kobe passed away other than the news, which is always full of shit. But anyway, Pope Francis's birthday is December 17th, Saturnalia. And by the way, Saturn worships 201. Saturnian order is 201. Sacrifice to Saturn is 201. Let's not forget what they did to the only 201 city in America, Indianapolis, the lineman of the Colts. His son dead on the Pope's birthday, 201 days after his own birthday last year. It was sick. Just being aware of this and being like, God, look how cold it is. It's just like Roman. By the way, in Jewish gematria, Roman is 201. All roads lead to Rome. But yeah, Saturnalia is an old Roman sacrificial day. And that's kind of like why Joe Biden sacrificed his son at age 46, 201 days before the Pope's birthday. And then he becomes number 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday in the election. But okay. August 23rd, 2022 to December 17th, 2022. Now, remind me who I told you was going to win the 116th World Series in spring training right after. You know what? It was even, actually, I take it back. I misspoke. I didn't say it in spring training, you guys. I said it on February 4th, 2020, before spring training got underway. Unless spring training had just started. But Mookie Betts went to the Dodgers on that day. And I said, look at this. He's coming over like Jackie Robinson for the 116th World Series. Jackie Robinson, as they often say, the first African-American player to break the white color barrier. That was in the modern MLB. But notice, in gematria, African-American, in the most simple cipher is 116. You know who just became the 116th Supreme Court Justice? Ketanji Brown Jackson. You see how Jackson is 116 in reverse? Notice this. I'm going to write out African-American again. She became the 116th Supreme Court Justice, and she was sworn in 289 days after her birthday. If you doubt that, go back and look, because we documented all. We did the video that day. If you didn't miss it, it's because you're not keeping up with my channels and you're not listening to what I'm saying about how you have to keep up, because I'm always getting suspended and having to bounce around channels. You got to follow all my channels. Every time I get suspended, I stop posting on a channel, I go back and look at 5,000 comments. Zach, how come you're not posting anymore? I'm like, how can these people not know the deal yet? But anyway, Ketanji Brown Jackson in the same cipher as African American equals 71. So does Kamala Debbie Harris, the first African American woman in the Oval Office. Go back and see about the death of Nat Turner on the 71 date numerology in his film Birth of a Nation, which supposedly made $7.1 million at a disappointing box office weekend. And by the way, the name of the film, Birth of a Nation, is also 71. Now, the 100, I can't remember if there was 100 in Ketanji Brown Jackson's ritual, but again, I mean, this is how you can see that these are the base systems. This is going on in sports every day. It's going on in news every day. Just to remind people about Kobe's full name, Kobe Bean Bryant. He died 243 days after Jerry West's 81st birthday, the logo of the league. He died the week before Super Bowl 54. The first Super Bowl the Chiefs won since Len Dawson, who's now dead on Kobe Bryant Day in a number of the Beast ritual. And then 135, he died a span of 135 days from Kanye West's birthday. Of course, they're in the Nike short film that ends with the exploding helicopter. Bruce Willis is also in that. But right after Demi Moore was like some joke about hair loss thing, then all of a sudden he had some head problem with a similar sounding illness in a award ceremony that was brought to you by Pfizer, who had just like finished like some trial on some related drug. It's just like, oh my God, man. Using actors to sell products. What else is new? I guess just making it the news. But also Kobe Bryant, 113, like Michael Jordan, like the National Basketball Association, like Dear Basketball, like Utah Jazz, who he played his last game against, and again, Dear Basketball's his retirement poem, and then 41 like his age of death, and 157 like dead 157 days from his birthday, and 58 like Los Angeles Lakers, like King James, dead at 58, and LeBron King James was on the Lakers, winning the championship that season, on his way to doing it. Again, did it 41 weeks after his own birthday on Father-Daughter Day when Kobe and his daughter died. Again, and then 44 days before Kobe's death, he was in the news for helping out with a car crash, which was 113 days from his birthday. You know? And don't forget, you know, Kobe's birthday is 23/8. His career emulated Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's 23/8. Helped you guys win a lot of free games this year with a lot of free picks. Told you guys those Bulls were going to win those 4 straight home games to get to 23-8 by Jordan's 59th birthday. Boom, exactly what they did. Kayla Decode Talker, who's got her Patreon's going now because she's killing the WNBA. You know, she had people on something that paid close to 8-1 with the North Carolina college basketball game on, you know, Jordan's birthday. And shout out to Kayla Decode Talker. I should have thought to look at the college basketball game on Jordan's birthday. Of course, I've been doing less with sports, so it slipped my mind, but that was actually the biggest payout game of the day, and it was following the same number ritual. Again, you guys, there's no denying what these people are doing, and that it's the Jesuits and the Catholic Church that have it all synced up. And if you ultimately, at the end of the day, think that it's Satan who's controlling the Jesuits, and through Satan's energy, all of this is just working out perfectly day after day, which I'll say is possible. It's possible it's something like that. Still, the only comment left to my video shouldn't be arguing with me about your spiritual belief and exactly what you think is going on, because I'm not even making it about that. What I'm making it about is so that people can see that something so evil is going on, something so nefarious that they should not be involved with this. You should not be supporting these teams. You shouldn't be buying their merchandise and putting their stuff in your house and going to their games and raising your children up on it. And I realized, you know, there was a time when we didn't realize that it was this evil, that it was this nefarious, but it's becoming more obvious as time goes on. It seems like it's like that all throughout the world of entertainment. In the 50s, they had to show Elvis, you know, just up above his head and his upper body and part of his arms playing the guitar down here, but they couldn't show him down low because his dance moves were just too provocative for the young ladies, you know, twirling his knees all over and whatnot. And I mean, you just think about, and you know, that again, you guys, if you didn't notice, they overturned Roe versus Wade on the day the Elvis movie came out. And again, that generation was the one that, you know, birth control was a newer thing, and you know, what's the word? Promiscuity. you know, was becoming a bigger thing, and a lot of people say people like Elvis were big influences. I mean, the point is though, like even if Elvis was too much back then for the ladies, he was just the instant panty dropper. I mean, think about where things are now and where they've been actually for many decades. I mean, it's come so much further, but just everything's more blatant. You're like, I understood the other side of the debate. Let's see Elvis dance and people show some behavior. But like the stuff that they just put in front of us now, it's just so sick, you know? It's like they market to you that Kobe was the most selfish player on the whole court in his 666th game as he scored 81 and the rest of his team scored 41, right? And again, here's how sick it is, you guys. Notice that 122 points were scored in the game on January 22nd. 1-2-2. Hold on, Big Al's calling in, but then I got to talk about the satanic thing right here, where it all fits in. What's up, Big Al?
Man, I got to give a shout out to you, brother, for exposing these sick fucks.
Indeed. Indeed,
you know?
Man.
Every day you need a shout out, man. Why is this shit not gone viral? Just another beautiful ritual I got to show everybody. It worked. I mean, people are still waking. Some people are waking up to it a little bit, but yeah, man, it's like today, you were all over the Lenny Dawson stuff, and we got the 74 date, so there's all these 33s today. Just coincidentally on the board in MLB, and the first one it looks like it's going to go to is the Tigers. Tigers equal 33. They love
Here, for people who don't know, again, there's basic lessons that I've always taught from the beginning. The first video of mine that ever stayed up on YouTube was about 74 and 33 and how these numbers come all together all the time in news and sports. Recently, you saw it in the Super Bowl, 74 points scored, 33 by the losing team. Jesus, cross, gospel, Messiah parables, they're all 74 like Roman, like killing. And what age does Jesus go on the cross? At 33. You'll always see 74 and 33 come together. So, yeah, this is Big Al for everybody who doesn't know, longtime veteran, Pounds Pavement with us. And
it's not here working, listening to the live stream. And, yeah, man, I just feel amazed that people ain't getting it, as fast as they need to. It is obvious how sick they are. And the whole Elvis thing, doesn't it just all make sense? Because, us being awake, we knew all along, this pandemic or whatever the fuck you want to call it, we knew it was ultimately about getting to the kids, right? That's who they really wanted, because even dumb fucks would have figured it out, but right away they wanted to stick this shit into your kids. Just like with the Elvis. What was it, mostly what? It said 80% of Americans went out taking it after he got on the fucking TV, but it was mostly teenagers, because that's who they wanted ultimately, to take this shit.
And they know, because they know they control society, and they know in no time all the little kids are going to be the adults of the future. So they're always working at controlling the mind more and more of that young age group. That's why they put us in school at a young age. Oh, by the way, you guys, speaking of how we start school, what's the first thing we learn about in school? Dinosaurs, right? I told you yesterday that story about the 113 million-year-old dinosaur tracks of the 44-ton dinosaur on Kobe's 44th birthday. Somebody finally left a comment. I can't believe I didn't see it myself. Who did Kobe have his career high against?
Oh, Utah, right?
No. That was his last game. His career high was against the dinosaur team, the Toronto Raptors.
Oh, where he scored 81?
So yesterday, the top story that CNN had on their front page all day was the dinosaur thing. Did you see that?
Well, I saw your post that you added on there, and I saw the 113. I just had to chuck with that because you know what that's all about.
That's what they did, though, with that. It's like these people, they just...
Jack, you've known this for several years now. It's like, it just seems like now, though, they've made it clear and clear. And some of it has been, help, like Rambo's been a big contributor because he ties in the astrology part of it, so you see how fucking sick it all is, too. Because what was it, who brought up the madness shit? I saw that, too, where the fifth degree is highest satanic church, so they had that shit plastered with Trump about how he went undefeated in his pick. All his mega picks, it said. They had to put the fucking mega in there with the 26,
Right.
It's just so obvious, man. Like, how is it not obvious to anyone at this point what the fuck is going on?
Indeed.
It's always been going on.
Yeah, I feel like it really does. They step up the mockery as each cycle comes around. So.
It's just, so, like, all this shit, like, yeah, we don't know the answer to this, but they can always get a game back or take a game, right? But when it comes to these passive rituals like yesterday, that shit's fucking going through, period. Because what are people not getting about the fact where you've shown this now hundreds of fucking times over and over, maybe thousands of these same type of rituals, which means they had to been planned out fucking decades before these people were born. What are the people not getting about that? It has to be perfect.
People forget that Kobe was born to an NBA professional basketball player who just happened to be drafted 41 years before Kobe retired, before he dies at age 41, by Golden State, which equals 41. Blah blah blah.
It's so sick, isn't it? It's like the lady Dawson. I forgot it was his fiance's father. But just how fucking sick is all this? The dude drops dead the day he passes Lenny Dawson. I mean, and this is the shit you've been exposing for fucking 8 years already. And they just
well, even the day before all this happened, I was talking about Kobe and the Chiefs in that Super Bowl, and then let's look. Len Dawson's dead on Kobe Bryant Day on a 54 date numerology, and you still think it's a coincidence? So.
You can just stop, man. Keep your head up against the wall, you know?
I just noticed for the first time, though, that Kobe's production company equals 66 and 87. And again, Dawson's dead at 8. Dawson's dead on his 66th day of being 87 years old, and he joined the NFL Hall of Fame in 87. I got up extra early this morning because Sweet Lady needed to get up early for an early exam. So I had the ESPN on right when the news broke, and the first fucking thing they put up on the screen is that Hall of Famer of 87, Len Dawson dead at 87. It's like they want you to see what they're doing.
Right. It's like they did there with Bill Russell on the 75, because he was Hall of Famer in 75. I mean,
that's what I said this morning. Exactly. It's the same shit.
Man, it's just so obvious. I don't know. Anybody can't fucking see it at this point. Who in the fuck would still participate in any of their shit anymore? Like, really? If you can't make money off of it, what the fuck are you giving them money for?
Right. And again, that's why I tell people to just be patient and just wait for the Whopper riddles to come around. There's plenty each year if you pay attention. And I mean, there's like you're not supposed to bet your house, but God, if you're ever in a situation where you got to bet your house, just wait for the big Whopper game and see if you can turn your life around, because you could have done it yesterday with Kobe Bryant game. So.
Right. I didn't do that, but that's okay, because I know this shit comes along every day. I don't need to take that type of a chance. But
exactly, that's not the way to live. Yeah, you don't want to have everything on the line.
I don't like that kind of stress, man.
Right. Well, you wouldn't have had any stress with yesterday's game. It was pretty much an ass whooping from the beginning.
It was hard over. I missed them. They had 4 fucking runs in the fourth. How perfect is that against the 44-ball club, the Brewers?
Right. Look at this, Al. Here's what I was going to get to saying right before you called in. So, Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan in the year 66, he died 201 days after his own birthday, but he also died exactly 201 days before the sitting Pope's birthday, Pope John Paul II, who replaced the 33-day Pope who went to bed on the Jesuit order's birthday and never woke up again. And then the first case of COVID in the world, they've moved the date to November 17th. It hasn't changed since then. That day comes up a lot in history. That day is 201 days after the Church of Satan was established, its anniversary. And again, it just makes you think of all the 201-666 stuff, like Claydex 666 days before the pandemic. And again, just like Kobe dies in the big 201 ritual, who had that career high, whereas the rest of his team only scored 41 points in his 666 games. So,
yeah, 41. What a joke.
Kobe Bryant, 41. Yeah. On the Pope's 41st day of his age. And then the Dodgers pick up the 85th win again last night while the Pope's 85. And 116 days before his birthday, like how they won the 116th World Series the year Kobe died. Remember?
Speaking of the Dodgers, okay, so we know they just did the big massive ritual with Scully, right? Well, that was what, 117 days or a span of 118 from opening day, right?
It was the 118th day of the season, right? And it was 89 days before the World Series. Again, Los Angeles Dodgers 118-80, or Los Angeles, California's 118-89. Los Angeles Dodgers is 89.
It was exactly 117 days, though, correct?
After the season began.
Right. So check this out. So last night, I caught part of the end of the game. Already in the 7th inning, they were talking about how the fucking game was already over, speculating on how many wins the Dodgers were going to win, and they kept coming back to, well, they brought up 112 and 113, those two numbers, but then they go to 117 because I guess that would be the record. So it makes me wonder if the fucking Dodgers may win 117 games this year.
Well, that would be that's possible. And again, for people who weren't here last year, we were torn in spring training who would win in the National League. We thought the two front runners were either the Dodgers or the Braves. The Braves ended up winning it because they were the two teams with the best narratives going, and they both had a strong connection to 117. So.
Right. Well, hey, man, I just wanted to holler out and give you a shout out. So thank you as always, man.
All right. Congrats on the W's. Good observation today on the 74-33 for other people with listening ears.
Thanks for that update. It just clarified the 33 that they should play well today. I think Seattle get their 33rd home win today, too, but they're monster favorites. But, yeah, just look for the 33s today. You'll see another one out there. I'm not going to give it to anybody. They can find it themselves. Look in the home and away records.
All right. Appreciate it, Al.
Thanks, man.
All right. Take care. See you.
Bye-bye.
But yeah, you guys, again, just think about it. Kobe dies. LA wins. Well, since Kobe's died, they've now won a Super Bowl too. But the year he died, they won the NBA Finals and the World Series. And again, NBA Finals 41 weeks after LeBron's birthday on Father-Daughter Day. And then the 116th World Series. Now this huge ritual synced up with the Superior General and the Pope. The 44th home win on what would have been Kobe's 44th birthday, the number of death and killing, and everything else they code into it. Tony Gonsolin, all these Jesuit numbers just perfectly lining up. And again, it's not lined up with the leader of Israel, I'll put it that way. You know, the establishment of Israel was inked up with the Vatican, though. So, again, you got all these false truth channels that just sit all the... that's pretty much what the whole truth community is, really. That's why they don't cover this work either, because they're all sitting there talking out of their ass, wrong about everything, blaming everything on Jews, everything's Israel, and it's like, well, in reality, when you actually know what's going on, you can see who runs Israel. Not to say that I'm a big proponent of sending billions of dollars to a nation on the other side of the world that's been another military empire bombing brown people, just like we do, when we have all sorts of predominantly brown neighborhoods that could use billions of dollars and a big rejuvenation here in our society. And again, people are like, well, why even do that? They should... Again, you guys, the point I'm making is we have this evil, sick government that's all about military war, doesn't solve any of its own problems, always pointing the finger somewhere else, always some new distraction. Stop being such a whiner. Just work your ass off and go watch the ball game tonight like I do. You know, man, basketball, I mean, we got Kobe to watch, man. Life's not that bad. Fast forward to 2022. And the Angels got stomped yesterday 11-1. It's funny that helicopter equals 111. Again, wasn't so sure about that one, but we knew the Dodgers were bringing home number 44 in the home win column. So I think we hit it all real good. But here, let me show you the thing about the Church of Satan real quick. Let me come back down to Toronto's box score. We talked about the significance of the 66th win. They stayed on 55 losses. That's the Satan number, 55. Look at this. Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, established April 30th, 1966. It was established 19 days after his 36th birthday. He was 36, 666, the 36th triangular number. Toronto equals 36, Kobe's 666th game. Actually, hold on. Before I even do this part about Anton LaVey, I got to remind about this. San Francisco, where the Church of Satan was established, in the most simple cipher is 122. Satanic is 122. Okay? 122. And you know what? CNN, Pope Francis, obsession with the devil. I want you to see this article from CNN. This article came out 122 weeks after Pope Francis became Pope, his obsession with the devil. And notice Pope Francis is also 122. So is the Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, which we've been talking a lot about. Again, it's in the sun. Their logo is the sun with the letters IHS. The Catholic Church has celebrated the sun's birthday, Sol Invictus, since 274 AD. The Pope's 85 right now. Dodgers got their 85th win in the ritual. Gonsolin became 26-6 for his career. Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope, the 266th. He spoke in D.C. on the 266th day of the year. And then 122 as well. So 122 goes with San Francisco, where the Church of Satan was established. It goes with Pope Francis, who's named after St. Francis of Assisi, like San Francisco. And it goes with the word satanic. And it also goes with the word abortion, which was decided on January 22nd at 73, 122 days after Roe's birthday, which was September 22nd. And this year, the memo leak was on the 122nd day of the year. And then they overturned it a month and 22 days later. And there might have been another one that I'm even forgetting. There's a lot of 122 stuff in the history of abortion beyond that, but just the recent Roe versus Wade thing. And the name of the bill that overturned Roe v. Wade equaled 201. And it was Jackson Dobbs right a week before we get Ketanji Brown Jackson officially sworn in. And she was nominated 201 days before her birthday. And Breyer announced he was retiring 201 days before his birthday, which is also the Jesuit order's birthday. But anyway, this 122 thing. When Kobe had his career high against Toronto, it was on 1/22 on the 120, and there was the score 122 points on 1/22. Satanic 122, 666th game. So Kobe has all these 201 connections as well. Dies in a big 201 ritual after event 201, the coronavirus simulation, and then the pandemic declared 201 days after his birthday and synced up with the Church of Satan, where the first case of COVID in the world was 201 days after the Church of Satan's birthday. And again, the Claydex simulation, which was the sister simulation to Event 201, was 666 days before the pandemic was declared. Look at this. Look at this part right here. Oh my God, what happened to my brain freeze? Look at this part right here. Well, I guess we looked at enough of it, but there's something I'm supposed to say that I'm forgetting right now. Again, he did score 81, going with Kobe Bean Bryant and Mark of the Beast. And again, the rest of his team scored 41. By the way, Kobe Bryant's 58. In that same cipher, Biblical's 58. The real King James, who has the Bible named after him, died at age 58. Again, Kobe's from the biblical town of Philadelphia. 10-1 score last night. 26th prime as Gonsolin gets his 26th win. In tribute to Mr. Bryant. But again, just biblical rituals. The snake, the serpent, Kobe the snake from Philadelphia. Again, the Church of Philadelphia. You see how the word is 101 and 61 for Philadelphia? Philadelphia, 101, 61. Look at church, 101, 61. Remember the year they set the ritual for the Eagles to beat the Patriots. The rookie kicker they had that year, he made the 61-yarder in week 3 for the winner. Technology to ensure outcomes. Well, look at Philadelphia again. You see the 223? Look at the synagogue of Satan. The synagogue, I spelled it wrong. Let me spell it right. Synagogue of Satan, 223. Okay, the synagogue of Satan, 223. The letter to Philadelphia. You know what? Revelation 3:7. Let's bust it out. Actually, I think we might need more than just 3 of 7. To the church in Philadelphia. Remember, the founder of Zionism died on July 3rd. That day can be written 3/7 as well. Los Angeles can be written 37. To the angel of the church in Philadelphia, write, these are the words of him who is holy and true, who holds the key of David. The key of David equals 135, like Kobe Bean Bryant. Philly was established on a 135 date numerology. Philadelphia also equals 65, like Christianity, like Knights Templar. It was established on the day, leaving 65 days left in the year. Okay, I need more than just, I think I need through 3:9 if I'm not mistaken. Okay, Revelation 3:7 through 9. Let's try again. To the church in Philadelphia. But notice it does start right there with a 3:7, this Philadelphia LA connection. These are the words of him who is holy and true, who holds the key of David. What he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open. I know your deeds. See, I have placed before you an open door so that no one can shut. I know that you have little strength, that you have kept my word and have not denied my name. I will make those who are the synagogue of Satan, who claim to be Jews, though they are not, but are liars, I will make them come and fall down at your feet and acknowledge that I have loved you. Okay, so again, isn't it just so interesting how the language is so perfectly coded? Now, remember, the Catholic Church has an interest in fulfilling prophecy, because if it's not fulfilled, well, then the religion's obviously a fraud. What has kept so many Christians in line with the belief system? The idea that prophecy is being fulfilled, and you can see it in the signs and symbols and news stories that we get through the media, and the ones who give us the stories about the things we need to know about, the classroom history books. All of this proof to them is information that comes in books, on screens, from authorities. And what I'm showing you is how the Jesuits, who are smart, clever people who are behind the technology that dominates the world. Again, understand, I'm open-minded. Is it spirits? Is it angels? Is it demons? Is it alien? I'm open to all these ideas, but whatever's behind the technology that controls us, to me, that seems beyond human. You know, most of the people I know are fucking retarded. To imagine anyone coming up with designing a computer, the internet, any of this shit we have that controls everyone's mind, I can't fathom it. I could be wrong about that, but I just can't even fathom that. So, anyhow, coming back to Philadelphia, again, its establishment is the day, leaving 65 days left in the year. And notice in the same cipher where Philadelphia is 65, so it's Christianity. Philadelphia had the 101 like Christian. Christian is 101.61 like Philadelphia in church. See? There's a reason for the 10-1 score on Gonsolin's 101st day as he picks up his 26th win when it's all coded through this 26-letter alphabet where the word letter is 26, but so is God. God 26. And notice sun god. Notice when I write out sun god, it's 80, 26, 82. Look at Bryant, the exact same in all ciphers. 80, 26, 82. The memorial to Kobe was on February 24th, where Jordan cried and Jimmy Kimmel hosted it. That's the day in history the Catholic Church rolled out the Gregorian calendar in the year 1582. And for all the sports fans out there, you know 82 is a number. The NBA season, the NHL season, they're both 82 games and they're both scripted. And the word game is also 82. And these games are synced up with the calendar, their annual events, their rituals and time. They're keeping track of time. Every year we put a new number on it. Next year will be the 76th NBA season, but the 77th season of pro basketball. Just like how this year was the 75th NBA season, but the 76th season of pro basketball, and the team originally from Philadelphia, the Warriors, won. Just like how San Francisco won the 75th NFL season. And it might be because San Francisco is a very Catholic city named after St. Francis of Assisi, where Catholic Church is 75, and the same cipher as Bill Russell, who became a Hall of Famer in 75, and then dies right after the 75th NBA season as the Warriors become 7-5 on the last day, again, of the Jesuit Ignatian year. And again, you know, normally I only talk about the base ciphers, but I want to remind people something. You see how Boston's 22 in the most pure cipher like basketball? They're both 22. Now, remember, there's a rule in reduction for the 19th letter, which is S, the letter that's like a snake. And when you use the rule with S becomes 10 instead of 1. Basketball and Boston both equal 31. 31's the 11th prime. What day did Bill Russell die? He died on the last day of the Ignatian year, the 31st of July, 31 the 11th prime with his 11 championships. And then 11 days later on the 11th of August, they retire his number 6 across the league. And again, 116. Like how the Dodgers in the Jackie Robinson tribute won the 116th World Series, and now the Kobe Bryant birthday game is 116 days before the Pope's birthday, where they're paying tribute to all this. And let's not forget the year the Dodgers won the 116th World Series. Chadwick Boseman died on the makeshift Jackie Robinson Day, which was also the anniversary of Jack Kirby of Black Panther. And I can't remember if it was his birthday. I think it was his birthday, Jack Kirby, but it might have been his death. Let me double check that. It was his birthday anniversary. August 28th, 2020, Chadwick Boseman died. He died at age 42, and then they changed his age to 43. We documented that in real time the day of. But again, the makeshift Jackie Robinson Day and Black Panther Jack Kirby Day. Chadwick Boseman played Black Panther and Jackie Robinson, number 42. And Jackie Robinson, the Major League Baseball player, was in World War II, supposedly in the Tank Brigade. God, you know what's interesting about that? Because today on Kobe Bryant Day, it's Ukraine's birthday, and they're celebrating tanks. But Jackie Robinson was in the Tank Brigade, known as the Black Panthers. And was he really? Again, we know how scripted the stories are around these entertainers, the things that supposedly happened. The Quando Rondo story the other day, it was obvious the guy who got killed was supposed to get killed on August 19th. It was all synced up with his albums. It had to be him. He was the guy with the 19 name. If you missed the video on it, it's out there. But yeah, for the record, this was also 8 months and 6 days after the Pope's last birthday. 8 months and 6 days, like 86, like how Kobe, if he really did die, he took off from John Wayne Airport, which equals 86, like human sacrifice, like blood sacrifice. And yeah, there's even more to it, but again, I know we probably surpassed the number threshold for most people a long time ago. Most people got short attention spans. The macaroni and cheese is boiling, needs to be tended to. NFL rewinds on. So, what are you going to do? Yeah, again, shout out to Mr. Futures. I really like the video he put out on Kobe Bryant today. And yeah, it's again, Victor, longtime veteran. He's I think he's changed his life with this knowledge. He's patting the pockets. He met a Victor's an awesome story from the community. He's changed his life. He's teaching the knowledge. He's got Patreon subscribers. He met a woman from the community. I forget if he's revealed his relationship status, but they have a nice, healthy relationship. And yeah, it's just, there's a lot of good stories in the community. There's also trolls that hang around and, people that complain about the knowledge because they're losers and it impacts their worldview, or because they went out and they didn't win the sports bet because it was their fault. I mean, you take this knowledge and you lose with it, you only got one person to blame. Take a look in the mirror, buddy. This is winning knowledge. I've given you guys a ton of free picks this year. My Patreon should be way up this year based on all the free picks I put out there over the course of the year. I mean, it hasn't been a million, but I probably put out, 20-some free picks, and almost all of them have been right this year. You think more people would be like, man, he hardly charges anything. I need to get behind this work. This work is different. This guy's backing up his points, man. His predictions are on point, winning, helping people win, breaking people out of the matrix, showing you who's doing it, Sorry, man, I got to listen to Joe Rogan's guest. I'm going to waste 3 more hours of our lives because Joe Rogan, everybody else is listening. Again, you guys, Joe Rogan never had a podcast ever as interesting as what was just put out here. Not even close. Not even close. People just listen because he's a celebrity. He's on UFC. By the way, Joe Rogan's... You guys... Hold on. You guys want to know how stupid sports is? And again, wait, don't tell me UFC's rigged. We proved that a long time ago, new guy. UFC totally rigged. But let me see. Is it on this side or is it on my new side? It's actually on my new side. I want you guys to see when Joe Rogan's debut was at UFC. It was just so perfect for a UFC guy. Hold on. Here we go. Joe Rogan, his debut at UFC 12 on February 6th, 97. And just notice the gematria. Joe is the exact same as UFC in every cipher. And like I always teach you guys, if you can only have one, take the dark blue cipher, the alphabetic order of the rules of numerology. UFC 12 was Joe Rogan's debut. Remember last year on the 42 date, the N-word equals 42, the Joe Rogan N-word thing came out. It's just same shit with all these celebrities. Live by the numbers, get used by the numbers. And that was on the 37th day of the year for the record, UFC 12, the 12th prime. Know your prime number relationships. It was 179 days after his own birthday, the 41st prime, going with Joe Rogan. So, Joe at UFC 12. That's why Joe Rogan doesn't bring Gematria on his show, to expose his whole career from Newsweek. Again, that's where Joe Rogan got to start with no Newsweek. Now he's the most listened to podcast. Go back and see my work on here. You know what? I just got to pick on Joe Rogan a little bit. That shows a big 54, and 54 was a rough year for him. The post didn't come up. Whatever. It's out there. Joe Rogan, Newsweek. Here's how I'm going to close this out. I'm going to read a little bit from my book. If you have Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus, thank you. If you don't, you can download it for free, and you can read along with me. Again, in the link to the description of the video on my website, GematriaEffectNews. These are the places to download the ebook for free. But chapter 16, it's kind of weird that it's chapter 16, and now Len Dawson, number 16, is dead on Kobe Bryant Day. It's just like how the first page in here that I talk about Joe Burrow was perfect. This is weird, but anyway, RIP to Len Dawson. Again, Hall of Famer in 87. Last Chiefs quarterback to win the Super Bowl before Mahomes, who won it right after Kobe's death. Again. Anyway, let me read a little bit from the book. This chapter is really long on Kobe. Let me see how many pages it is. Hold on. God, there's no way I'm reading this. This is a long this chapter on Kobe's death is about as long as my new book is that I'm taking forever to write because I'm being such a perfectionist. But here, I just want to start to just even read the chapter because I haven't read the thing since I wrote it. So, chapter 16, Kobe Bryant's burial and the NBA's March 11th suspension. Coincidence. It's a word many use far too often to explain away things that are not. For example, many would claim it is a coincidence that LeBron James passed Kobe Bryant in points scored in what was Kobe Bryant's hometown in the Lakers' one game of the season in Philadelphia, thus a 1 out of 82 chance because the Lakers play an 82 game schedule and only one game at Philadelphia each year. And then I note how game has the Gematria 82. Those same people would likely also call it a coincidence that LeBron James passed Kobe Bryant in points scored while playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. And then the next day, Kobe Bryant died in Los Angeles. Exactly what was reported to have happened January 25th and January 26th, 2020. And remember, I put out a video before LeBron passed Kobe saying why he would do it on that day on 25/1, 251, the 54th prime in Kobe's hometown when Kobe Bryant's 54. And then I went back in that video and I reminded how Kobe's last game was synced with the deaths of Daryl Dawkins and Moses Malone, who was the first high school player drafted to Utah, like Kobe finished his career against Utah. But I still remember putting out that video before, and I was making the point, like, you guys, these leagues are sick. They're killing these players for these rituals. And then I was just blown away when the day after Kobe died. I mean, even that surprised me. Like, wow, to get rid of Kobe at such a young age? I mean, you expect him to be the kind of guy. But then it's because they got another plan, you know? They're making all kinds of money off Kobe. He's got books coming out, movies, HBO doing shows about the Lakers. I mean, it's all money and death too, but it's just such a sick game. And Kobe was always known for being kind of a selfish douche. And I just think about it because the Church of Satan, you guys, if you don't know, the Church of Satan, this huge 201 thing, again, their thing is self-worship. Kobe was a perfect example of self-worship. Him and Allen Iverson, who went to the Jesuit school at Georgetown, transitioned the way people played basketball. I know because I was growing up in that time and you just saw way more ball hogs. It became less of a team game because too many people are watching the bullshit rig game and the ball hogging, and now they want to be Allen Iverson. But they fucking suck and they need to pass the ball. That's the thing, too, when you're on a court with some guy who wants to be Iverson and he's fucking trash, and you're like, pass the fucking ball, dude. Oh my God. You can thank Kobe and Iverson for exactly what I'm talking about right now. For everyone who can ball out and wasn't a ball hog, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, they would likely also call it a coincidence that Kobe Bryant was then buried in Corona del Mar in the time of a coronavirus outbreak. They might even call it a coincidence that LeBron James got his 24th tattoo on his body in tribute to Kobe Bryant, who wore number 24. And again, Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl at 24 right after Kobe died. And now, on the 24th, Len Dawson is dead 24 days before Patrick Mahomes' birthday. And again, the day Patrick Mahomes beat Len Dawson's passing record, his fiancée was there at the game, and her dad dropped dead at the game. Okay. All right, but anyway, LeBron got his 24th tattoo on his body in tribute to Kobe, who wore number 24 with a picture of a black snake and the words Mamba for life days after Kobe's death and after passing Kobe Bryant in points scored on Philadelphia's court that was decorated with a black snake chopped into pieces from the join or die flag. They'd likely even call it a coincidence that the Lakers became 24-8 at home after defeating the Los Angeles Clippers when the NBA returned from its coronavirus break. Kobe wore 24-8. July 30th, 2020, despite 24-8 being the jersey numbers of Kobe Bryant. And they might even call it a coincidence that Beyonce won her 24th Grammy at the Staples Center, where the Lakers play on the same day Kobe died, being the same woman that opened up his memorial with a song on the 24th of February in the same building. But if you show them what is in the remaining pages of this chapter, you might very well cure their coincidence theory problem. Information is the key, and those same people might have never heard of a death pool or gematria or how it is used ritualistically. And in that regard, here is what is interesting about Kobe Bryant's death in light of a death pool and gematria. First, the way the odds for a death pool work are by taking the age of a person and subtracting it from 100. So in the case of Kobe Bryant, who died at 41, you would subtract 41 from 100, meaning Kobe Bryant paid 59 to 1 in a death pool. Huge odds. This becomes interesting because Kobe Bryant was known as the Black Mamba, and he crashed in his Black Mamba painted helicopter in Calabasas, where both the names Black Mamba and Calabasas sum to 59. With simple English, the same as blues, Rasta, Negro, and slave. This is why at first it was reported that 5 people were killed, including Kobe Bryant and his daughter in the crash, before the death toll jumped to 9 killed. This is also why it was later reported that Lisa Marie Presley's son died in Calabasas. By the way, you guys, Lisa Marie Presley, daughter of Elvis, when Elvis died, you know who was with him? His 21-year-old girlfriend, and guess what her name, Gematria, was? 201. Because that's right, you had this Elvis Presley-related death right after Kobe as well. And yeah, it's just as time goes on, this stuff comes together more and more. Hold on, lost my place. As you'll recall, the number 55 is encoded into Black history in a number of ways, from the establishment year of Motown, 1959, to the fact that Black History Month, February, ends on the 59th day of the year, except for in leap years. And while death pools and betting on them might not be common amongst ordinary people, we are talking about the games of those who are often referred to as elites. Again, I'll ask you to read and listen to the lyrics of the song Murder by Numbers, a song about how killing is the sport of the elite, and it is as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. And as you read and listen, consider how games such as the knocking off of celebrities for the sake of winning a death pool could fit into the schemes that are sung about. Moving on, the man-born Kobe Bean Bryant, summing to 54 with Pythagorean gematria, and his daughter, Gianna Bryant, also summing to 54 with Pythagorean, shocked the world when they were reported dead exactly 1 week before Super Bowl 54 to an unsuspecting public, even though the event had been foretold nearly a decade in advance in the 2011 film The Black Mamba that we'll soon get to. Keep in mind, their respective ages, 41 and 13, add to 54. And as you know, the number 54 connects to the Jesuit order, and their logo, the sun, both equating to 54, the latter being the object that is measured in 24-hour cycles, similar to how Kobe Bryant finished his career with the jersey number 24 after beginning his career with the number 8. What I didn't know when I wrote this book is how, well, I guess the memorial happened. Yeah, the memorial had happened. What I didn't know when I wrote the book is, again, how the memorial was on the day in history that the Gregorian calendar came out. So now it makes even more sense, which is a sun-based calendar. Bryant equals sun god. Catholic Church worships a sun god because it's a pagan cult. Paganism. Rituals. Christians doing all the pagan rituals and calling themselves Christians because they don't know anything about history. Okay, anyway. After beginning his career with the number 8, 2 numbers that when added together equate to 32, reminding us of the number of sun rays in the Jesuit logo, 32. This book came right before the Dodgers won the World Series break in the 32-year drought, which we were all over. With regards to the sun and the Gregorian calendar that is based on the solar cycle, you will notice that the name Kobe Bryant and the phrase solar cycle are identical in all 4 base ciphers. Oh, I almost skipped that part. So not just Bryant and sun god, it's Kobe Bryant and solar cycle. They're the exact same in all 4 ciphers. Numbers we will come to understand very well before the end of this chapter. Those numbers are 41, 58, 113, 157, especially in how they relate to the life of Kobe Bryant and what really happened the day he was reported dead, his 157th day of being 41 years old. As we move through the chapter, keep in mind that sun god sums to 26. Man, look what they just did on his birthday. Gonsolin, number 26, the 26th career win. Like Bryant, and he died on the 26th day of the Gregorian year in the 74th NBA season, while having a first name Kobe equating to 33 in simple English. As you have learned, the numbers 33 and 74 are often brought together. Hey, what did Big Al just call in about today? Today does have 74 date numerology. Tomorrow we'll have 75. And the day after we'll have 76, simple addition. But Big Al said there's a lot of 33 on the board today, so you might want to have a look for all you sports people. They really do put 74 and 33 together a lot, as I wrote about right here. Seemingly in tribute to Jesus, summing to 74, the same as cross, the former being the man who is believed to have been crucified at age 33. Remember, Kobe was traveling from Catholic Mass on a Sunday. Okay. But yeah, this chapter is really massive on his death. Remember, it took me, I was almost done with the book, and then George Floyd happened, and then I saw how George Floyd fit in, so it ended up taking me a few extra months to finish the book. Well, it was more like a couple, but shout out to Nicole, who tripped in $1.22 on the Cash App. I know when she was listening. And thank you, Sarah Sutherland. I appreciate the hoodies very much. I see your email. Thank you. And yeah, anyway, from Joe Rogan's debut at UFC to, the latest mega ritual in sports, all roads lead to Rome. And of course, Joe Rogan grew up a good Catholic boy like George Carlin. Seems to be a in show business if you're Catholic or Jewish, which again reminds that the Jesuits were a Catholic-Jewish alliance thanks to the Protestant Reformation. But I wasn't paying attention to the chat during the stream. And let's see. Let's check in with the chat. All right. Shout out to Niall Overton. He chipped in $2. He said, Zach, check out 113, 117 email I sent you. Okay. I will look at that. Mr. Scott says, Zach, man, everything has been infiltrated. They have something for everyone. If you don't like politics, they have someone for you and vice versa. Yeah. Infiltration is the Jesuit Illuminati game. Sarah Sutherland chipped in another $5. Thank you again. She said, Zach, please check the front pocket of the hoodie. Okay, I will do that. I'll do that, Sarah. I appreciate that. I missed it. And Kim says, if I ever get better, I'll be out there. Bone cancer ended up giving me permanent bone damage. Your work is so important. I love your rants, but I know weak people can't stand facts. You know, Kim, I'm very sorry that you're going through that, and I look forward to the day you're better, and I appreciate what you wrote, so thank you for the support. And yeah, please get better. And Chase chipped in $2 and said, thanks for getting the word out, buddy. I'm trying, man. There's just not enough hours in the day. Shout out to Nathaniel Ross, who chipped in $3.33 on the Cash App. People are always getting creative with the numbers on the Cash App. So yeah, anyhow, we'll leave it there, you guys. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to everyone who hit the like. Again, remember to support the other people in the community. Mr. Futures, he's going to be out there pounding payment with us on 9/11. Come meet him in the flesh. You know, he's got a great Patreon page, doing a lot of good work in the sports community. And again, check out his video today, Mr. Futures, no space. Watch his Kobe Bryant tribute video. And yeah, appreciate it. So sports are scripted, you guys. Get over it. So is news. So is politics. The winner of the 2024 election's already in. See all our work on it. And again, it's just like I'm showing you with all this stuff. It's the Jesuits behind all of it. It's just so obvious. These people are so clever. And again, RIP to Len Dawson, the Hall of Famer in 87, dead at 87. Been talking about Kobe and the Chiefs Super Bowl all these years. It's, you know, it's just, you got to be brain dead to see what I'm talking about. It's not dead on. Kobe Bryant Day and Len Dawson's dead. It's just, And I know my dad, he's not going to get it until I talk to him Sunday, but when I talk to him, then it'll all make perfect sense to him. My dad's a big Len Dawson fan. It's funny, my dad grew up, and his two favorite athletes in the NFL were Joe Montana and Len Dawson. He loved watching both of them play. Those were his two teams. That's why it was so weird when all this stuff happened. I was like, this is so weird figuring this out. And then my dad's football teams are in the Super Bowl in tribute to Kobe's death. And life is weird, man. It's got a weird matrix to it, too. You know, here, just speaking of how weird the matrix was, you guys remember about 4 years ago? I told you the story at the time when it happened. So when I lived, actually, it's probably 5 years ago now. 4.5, 5 years ago is about when it was. I still lived in my old house in Bothell, just north of Seattle. and I was coming back from the grocery store. I was in the parking lot, and there was a line of cars to go out to the stop sign to turn on the road. Busier over. You don't have these kind of stories in Yakima. You're not waiting in any lines in the grocery store to get back out on the road. But I was waiting in the line. We're just moving a car at a time. Probably 10, 15 seconds before you move up another car space and before you finally get out of the lot. And I noticed in my rearview mirror, this big SUV was just hauling ass. And I was like, oh my God, I'm about to get smashed in the grocery store parking lot. But then it roasted its brakes and it stopped. And I was just ready for the impact. And I was like, wait a minute, did it even hit me? And I went out and got out of my car and I looked. And I was like, wow, she stopped in time to not hit me. That was amazing. I thought I was about to get rocked. And then I just kind of gave her a wave as I be careful, because I wasn't sure what was going on. It's crazy how she flew up, and I kind of, besides getting out of the car to see if she hit me, I just want to see what was going on. But right when I got back in the car, then she drives forward and just drives into the back of me. And there was nowhere for me to go anyway. It's not like I was wasting time. The cars were still backed up at the thing. I did this real quick. But I was like, what in the world? Now she drives into the back of me? And then so I got out of my car again, and I just looked at her, and she had little kids in the back, little young children. And I was like, are you okay? And then when she rolled down the window to talk to me, she was slurring, and it was obvious she was drunk. She smelled like alcohol. And I was like, where do you have to drive to right now? She goes, don't worry about it. I live close by. And I was like, well, I was kind of worried about it, because God, I mean, you just almost wrecked into me hard in the parking lot. You got little kids in the back. But then I said, since she was drunk and I was parked in front of her, I said, just how close do you live? I said, are you a block away? Are you a mile and a half away? Because even though she ran in the back of me, I could tell it wasn't real bad. Well, anyhow, I ended up driving slowly and told her to follow me, because she told me where she lived. So I actually drive to this lady's house, right? And when we got to the house, they had, I'll just skip the whole story. But when I got to the house, her husband was there, and then he came out and talked to me a little bit, and I just told him what was going on, and he said that she does that, and it's a problem. And anyway, I was thinking about this story just yesterday, right? Yesterday I was at the grocery store, and this isn't something I think about very often. This happened years ago, but as I'm getting out of my car and walking up to the grocery store, I just start thinking about this, right? And I'm like, why am I thinking about this today? But I was just reliving it. I was like, I wonder if that couple's still together, because it seemed like there were some problems there, and hopefully she's not in jail and DUI and hasn't killed anybody with her drinking habit or driving habit. Because sometimes I wonder if I made the right decision. It's what was it right for me to escort her back to her house? I felt bad. I honestly wouldn't have done it if she didn't have little kids in the back, and then I figured out she lived close. I probably would have called and made an incident and running the back of my car, annoying the hell out of me. I'm going to get a check out of this. But anyway, that's not what I felt like doing since she had kids. But the thing is, I started having this story in my head while I was walking in the grocery store yesterday, right? And I'm the kind of guy where I park my car. I park the furthest far away. I don't have the greatest car. I never have, but I just hate when people you come out and there's a huge door ding in your car because somebody just slams their, I hate that experience. So to avoid that, I just park away from everybody, so I don't even have to come out and see that. So anyway, I was doing my thing, parked away from everybody in the lot. But then I come out of the grocery store yesterday, and there's no cars around mine. There's none parked anywhere around mine except for the one car that's parked literally on top of my car that parked into the back of my car. And then I look, and I see that the stroller, there's two baby strollers in the back of the car. And I'm just like, God, this is some other mom, and maybe she's drunk too. But literally, how do you park in a parking lot where there's no other cars and then crash into the back of their car? And I didn't see it happen, but I came out, and the person didn't even move their own car. They just stayed parked into the back of my car. And there's a little damage on the back fender, but I just looked at their car and how beat up and shitty it was, and the two baby strollers in the back, and I was just like, I just drove out of there this is so weird that I had this thought walking into the store, and then I come out, and it's like some mom has crashed into the back of my car again, and I'm not even in the car. But isn't that how life is just weird like that? It's why was I thinking about that? And then for that, because when I came out and looked at it all, I was like, this is so weird. But that's why, again, we all know it's what do you call it? There's all sorts of words for that. A second sense. My vocabulary is escaping me right now, but life is weird like that. Reality is stranger than fiction. And again, the other thing that my thoughts will boil down to when I think about it more, I'm like, you know what? The reason there's probably some drunk mother crashing in the back of my car in my parking lot with two kids in the back is, again, because of how fucked up this world is that these psychopaths made it. You know what I mean? There used to be a time before these psychopaths fucked up the world where, you know, men and women weren't trying to be equal. You know, a woman was cool with staying at home and raising a family and making nice meals and taking care of the house. And a man was cool with going to the workplace and doing his job and coming home and taking care of his family and his wife, and then going out and doing things with friends in the community and having block parties. And people had time to have block parties because only one parent worked, and people had community. This used to be the world. How did we get away from that world to, oh yeah, you're sexist? Oh, it's like, okay, what? Because I still believe in gender rules. I've been in the workplace. I love women, but God, in the workplace, women talk more. I'm trying to do my job over here. This woman wants to talk to me about all this shit. How am I supposed to do my job when as much as she talks? You know, she's good at talking and doing her job. I need to focus on my job. Again, you know, I understand what they did. Society was right when men or men and boys went to boys' school and girls and women went to women's school. All of this stuff was right back then. None of this stuff should have ever changed. It should have always been that way, because we all know what happens in school when there's a cute girl that's distracting you. You know, I still remember being in high school. The first time I struggled with my math class was as a young hormonal teenager that, you know, couldn't control what was going on in his pants. You know, with the assigned seating, they put me right next to the whole most beautiful girl in the school. Like, how was I supposed to focus on the assignment? And how did my live stream get to here anyway? But anyway, these people have messed with society, man. They have messed with society. Thankfully, I was still able to get through. And that's the thing, too. That's why there's those books out there. Everything you need to know you learned in kindergarten. I mean, we were pretty close to knowing all this stuff. Basic addition, reading, writing. We were learning that stuff kindergarten, first grade. You get past that, we learned a lot of bullshit. It's probably better to be in school before we had like hormones running through us and all this. But anyway, getting off topic, and hope you appreciated the stream. Thank you to everyone who hits the like and share. And again, New York 9/11 is coming up. New York 9/11. I'm driving all the way out from Washington State. I plan to drive the big loop, West Coast Washington, out to New York, down to Atlanta, back to LA, up through Silicon Censorship Valley, and then back home. So stay tuned, because I might be coming through your city and pounding some pavement. And I'm going to try to stop at football stadiums that make sense along the way. There should be at least a couple opportunities. So I'd love to see people form communities and pound pavement at football stadiums, getting out the word about what's going on, the death of the players, the rigged games. Use the new community website, GematriaEffectNews, on Mighty Networks app. GematriaEffectNews. Find that group on the Mighty Networks app. Join the community, link up, pound pavement, find out who's in your city, make something happen. So, all right, we'll leave it there for now. And till next time.